Okay, right. Well on.
Okay, and welcome to Degenerate Discussions. We have not done one of these in a while.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be fun, and we're going to be discussing what was once one of my favorite shows, and now a show that I cannot stand anymore, Doctor Who.
So, if I got to crash out about Star Wars, Archimage get to crash out about Doctor Who.
Yes.
What do I get to crash out about then?
Hang on soon because
that implies I'm next.
I think you may crash out with the Legend of Zelda movie.
Wait, there's gonna be a Legend of Zelda movie?
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything on it, so I don't care that much.
You could also maybe crash out about maybe they'll do something in Persona.
I doubt it. The
I'm sure you'll
most
find
recent thing I heard was the 4 remake, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
so.
I saw that too.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll find something.
I'm sure I will. I just don't want to know what it is.
I didn't. I
unless
never.
Unless my crash out was about the most recent TMNT series, that might be it.
Oh God. Yeah, I'll let you handle that one.
I know.
Honestly, I have to admit, I never thought I'd crash out on this series. Like, I never thought it would get this bad, and it was just like, Nukigatwa's first season. I got through it. It wasn't horrible, but it was disjointed. It was weird. It was obnoxious. And okay, so here's the thing. I will try to be as kind as I can. You know what? Fuck that. No, I'm not.
I'll try to be the kind one this time.
Yeah, by all means. Nukigatwa was not bad when he first started. Okay, let me try this again. In his first episode, he was good in half of it, and that was the later half when he stopped dicking around. He spent the first half of the episode dicking around, being this obnoxious, flamboyant putz. But then, because of that, someone who was close to him, who was going to be his new companion, basically was wiped out of existence. And he realized, if I hadn't been such a dick and actually took some responsibility, that wouldn't have happened. So he goes back to fix it. And that's when he was actually good as the Doctor, because he stopped dicking around like a teenager and acted like the stoic, ancient being that he's supposed to be.
Okay, so wait, I got a question, and I'll pop in an image for Zed because he probably don't. You can guess that the one what the Doctor we're referring to is the Black Doctor, and his first companion. Currently, if you're looking on YouTube, the companion you're seeing on screen is his second companion, his current companion,
who we're gonna have a field day with.
And I'm gonna try to put on screen real fast.
Ruby Rose.
Because I didn't finish that season, so I didn't know what happened. I know that she was still alive because I saw season 2 and she was still around for one of the episodes. So I figured whatever happened, she just went back home like many other companions. So Zed, that's the original, the first season companion.
She was literally the best part of the first season, so naturally they get rid of her because she's a white girl.
Yes, he was a good. She was good. So basically, to sum up, what happened? Basically, for those of you who are somewhat new to Doctor Who, David Tennant is regarded as probably one of the best modern day Doctor. Everyone loved his role as the Doctor. They fan over him. They adore his role, and I think it was during the time. Recently Disney took over, or at least got the rights to stream Doctor Who on their network.
They got the rights to stream Doctor Who. BBC's not letting go of Doctor Who.
And then they fund it as well, which is why they got the rights, I believe.
Yeah, they added part of they added some of the bonus to increase the funding for Doctor Who. That's why they were allowed to stream it in America and on the Disney Plus channel.
So basically, when they had got Doctor Who, they made one of his region after Peter Capaldi, which was the Doctor where he was old. They Peter Capaldi died. He regenerated to a woman, I believe her name was Jodie.
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker.
Whittaker.
Whittaker. Okay, thank you. And that run, it wasn't bad in my opinion. It was just below average.
It was.
There's nothing I can think about that it's horrible. Well, I take that back. There is one thing I think that was completely horrible. The 1,000-Year Child.
The Timeless Child.
Timeless Child, thank you. I don't even
Yeah.
like to remember it because that was a very bad arc.
No, it was a horrible arc. It pretty much it almost
It
ruined the
destroyed it.
character. It destroyed the lore, everything about it. And I really don't blame Jodie because honestly, okay, so a little side note, like I'm someone who does like the it's just a side note. I'm someone who does like the Doctor. You know, when you like a character, sometimes just for fun, you like to imagine yourself as that character, which became really awkward when he regenerated into a woman that I find very attractive. So, you know, that was a little bizarre for me to kind of comprehend. But anyway, this might be the slight crush talking, but I don't think she was overall bad as the Doctor. I think she was energetic enough to actually kind of pull it off. But the problem was a lot of the stories were pandering. And a lot of the stories were just, she didn't have great stories and she didn't have great material to really work with. And I think that was what really hurt her. But again, I want to put out the bias that I did kind of have a crush on her. And then sadly, sadly, the fans didn't agree, and so they desperately tried to get back fandoms by bringing back an old favorite, which turned into the 14th Doctor, who was David Tennant again. But I don't like to think the 14th Doctor is not the 10th Doctor because the 14th Doctor is kind of a bitch.
It got very confusing. Doctor Who's getting very confusing.
I agree.
The Timeless Child is there to give even more context because it's getting even more confusing.
Yeah.
Basically, the whole premise with Doctor Who is he is a alien known as a Time Lord, which are basically, if the name doesn't give away, they are master.
Yeah, I
of
knew
time,
that.
and they regenerate every time. The Doctor, as far as we knew him, up to Jodie, he had Jodie was what, his 14th or 15th regeneration.
Okay, so this gets a little. So
Not
Time Lords in general are supposed to have 13 regenerations. I'm sorry, 12 regenerations, 13 lives.
Yes.
So the thing is, though, and each life, in the original lore, each life could be about 500 years. So they could live 500 years. You know, if they weren't murdered or killed, they get to 500 years, their body withers and dies, and then they regenerate into the next Doctor. And that's completely random who it is. Although later on we saw some doctors could actually, some of the Time Lords could actually choose what they look like, but that was never really touched on. But anyway, so the Doctor actually used up all 12 of his regenerations with Matt Smith because of the War Doctor, and the time the 10th Doctor went through that regeneration but put it into his hand so he didn't have to change his face.
Yes.
But the Time Lords, through some nonsense, gave him another cycle of regenerations. Because, believe it or not, that doesn't break the lore. They can completely do that because they did that for the Master more than once by giving him more regenerations. Because, you know, the most psychotic killer of your entire world, why not give him more lives? That, you know, that can't come back and bite you in any way possible. So that's why there have been more Doctors. So what regeneration he's actually on at this point, honestly, it's really hard to say.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to say 14. Just for consistency. Because I'm counting the War Doctor right now since since he's in the picture.
Yeah, and we can't forget, like, see, the 10th Doctor also used one of his regenerations without regenerating. So it's technically, Nukigata is technically the 16th Doctor or the 16th regeneration. Plus, the Timeless Child said that the Doctors had multiple more regenerations we don't know about, which kind of completely ruins the damn character.
That's what I wanted to get into is the Timeless Child. Like, up to now, we knew, despite all the crazy, how much we have to try and categorize all the regeneration, we kind of knew all the faces of the Doctor. There wasn't any new old faces that we've never seen before. But then we got to the Timeless Child episode where they reveal she had multiple other regenerations we've never even seen before. That was in it's him's past.
Yep. That they even showed, what pissed me off the most though is they showed that the Time Lords got the power of regenerating because the Doctor, who was the child, came through another dimension, and they basically experimented on the child until they figured out how the child regenerated and then injected them with that same power. Which destroys the lore because one of the characters, River's song, was basically another type of Time Lord, a hybrid Time Lord, and they explained that she got the powers similar to the Time Lords by exposure to the time stream.
Yes.
Basically, because Rory and Amy got busy on their wedding night
In the TARDIS.
While it was going through the time stream. Good job, guys.
And
that's
like
why.
the time high club, I guess.
I'm
trying to figure out how to do that one.
Really? That's what you got to devote your mind to, is like figuring out the Mile High Club for the TARDIS.
I guess at this point.
Do you think anything better to do with the series?
The Temporal High Club, huh?
Temporal High Club. There we go. That's it.
Why did I help you? Why did I help you with that? All right, not important. So, but yeah, it destroys that entire arc now because we found out that's not how the Time Lords got their regenerative powers in the first place. So then, this is where like it
breaks a lot of the universe at this point.
It breaks a lot of the universe. But even with all the Timeless Child stuff, they kind of realized, okay, you know what? Not a lot of people like this story, and they were kind of backing away from it or like trying not to mention it much. They didn't do a retcon, but at least they weren't mentioning it. So a lot of fans were still willing to give Doctor Who a chance, including me. And, I was even willing to give the new Doctor a chance. Like, his first season was a bit rough, but I'm like, okay, he's still trying to find himself. It's gotten a little woke, but it's not so bad.
At least you finished his first season. I got bored. I couldn't finish the whole season.
Okay, see, here's the reason. I was able to it was boring. Like, the best episode was the one where he was barely in it.
The fairy.
Yeah, that was one of the best episodes, and that should not be one of the best episodes. It doesn't get any better. But I stuck on because I had a spoiler for the ending about an old enemy coming back, and I was really interested in that. Which the enemy was Set. Basically, the Egyptian god of death.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember.
And it was a massive letdown. Huge letdown. Like, because for some reason, Set was killing everybody in the universe, but he couldn't kill Ruby because there was something special about her. Some reason that it snowed around. Some reason that her mother was never seen. And then we find out, do you know what was special about her? Do you know what was creating this cosmic power that could stop this god of death?
Friendship.
No, that would have made more sense.
Oh no, that would have been really
wow,
bad.
That's how you know it's bad.
That's pretty, and it's Disney
Friendship
too.
is the excuse everything uses, so the fact that that's not what it was.
No, that actually would have made more sense.
The power of love.
Oh no.
Actually, that would have made more sense.
Oh god.
Oh god.
No.
Oh no.
It was the fact that she believed she was special.
You know what? I need to put in
Okay, I believe I deserve $1 million. Where's my money?
Hang on. Let me see if I can find. I don't believe any of you guys seen the anime Gurren Lagann.
No.
No, I have not.
Wait. Let me see if I can believe.
But while he's looking for that, like, literally, that was it. She believed that her mother and that day and everything was special, so it created this weird thing where she became special, and that's why the god of death couldn't kill her.
Is that how death works? Because if so, I'm never gonna die.
Yeah, if that's the case, I'll just go, great, I can't die, and now I'm immortal?
Yep. I guess. Oh, and then
that's it. Don't believe in me. Believe in the me who believes in you.
Oh, that's that line. Okay.
Okay, you know what?
Yes, I have heard people say that line. I did not know that it came from here.
It came from Gurren Lagann. Don't believe in the you who only believe in me. Believe in the me who believes in you.
Okay, and I'm not gonna lie, the ending of season 1 also, now that I think about it, kind of gave a red flag because the Doctor did something which you didn't think about right away because it was so quick, but he murdered the god of death.
Did he?
Now
he stranded him in the time stream or something like that.
No, it was confirmed. He killed him by getting him into the time stream. He dragged him behind and let the time stream rip him to pieces.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's probably multiple gods of death roaming around the
Oh, no,
universe.
there are. Like, that's the thing. You didn't think about it because it's the god of death and he literally just killed everyone in the universe, so you kind of gave it a pass.
Yeah.
Like, okay, not a big deal. And I was willing that, okay, maybe they've learned from this season and maybe, just maybe, they've gotten better. And then I watched the first episode and it broke me. This is where I was like, okay, you know what? I'm done. Russell T. Davis, go screw yourself. Okay? You need to go sit on someone's couch and work out your issues, because if you really think this is a hero, then you're a dumb little bitch who seriously needs some therapy.
And unfortunately, I thought Archimage said the second episode, so I watched the wrong one. So unfortunately, I did not see the episode that broke Archimage.
That's fine. I mean, honestly,
I seem to be doing better than both of you because I didn't watch either.
Yeah, the episode's only 30 minutes long, so it doesn't take much. But basically, the episode starts out with this companion who, honestly, we're supposed to think of as a Donna Noble. But you see, the difference is Donna Noble was charming. This girl is not at all. She's not charming. She's obnoxious. She's narcissistic. She's full of herself. And she's got a perpetual bitch face on. In fact, she's probably the origin of bitch face. In fact, it would have been a better story in Doctor Who if she went back in time to the first human, they saw her, and it came up with the term bitch face. Yeah, I don't like her. So, to be fair, the episode starts out with her and her boyfriend, and they're looking at the stars, and they make it very clear that the boyfriend's an ass, which he doesn't hit her or hurt her or anything. He's condescending to her. Like, one of the things he says is, I know girls aren't good at math. Things like that. Okay. So, yeah, he's the stereotypical, he's what idiots like Russell T. Davis think masculine men are like.
I had to fight really hard to say, well, it's not entirely untrue. I was trying not to be a bad joke in there.
I don't care. The whole series is a bad joke at this point. But anyway, so he gives her a gift, and the gift he gives her is he buys her a star, basically. Oh. You know, so he gives her a certificate with the star's name, tells her that's your star. And her first statement is, "Aw, thanks. Wait, why is it Miss?" And he goes, "Because you're not married." Which, well, yeah, I mean,
no, that's
why are you asking why it's Miss?
Yeah, that's how it is in English. It's MISS if you're, MS if you're not married, and MRS if you are married.
Yeah, so like that was a dumb question, but so that's that, and then we cut away to her at her job being an obnoxious pill. Her first statement is working, going, look at that. Yeah, I'm doing the job that the doctors can. It's like, you get immediately, she's an obnoxious pill. Like, she goes home and she has insufferable roommates and everything else, and it's just like, okay, she's insufferable. And then suddenly robots come into it, and they're trying to kidnap her. She has got like 8-foot-tall robots pointing a gun at her, and what does she say while not moving? My landlord's going to be really ticked off. You need to go, and he's a jerk. I'm like, okay, really? You're going to insult your landlord right now while you have a gun pointed at you? Are you crazy?
Does he not think they were real?
No, she knows they're real, but, you know, she cares more about, you know, her landlord, who's a jerk, is clearly the bigger threat. It's like, okay. Again, this is not the part that breaks me yet. So she's kidnapped, essentially, to become the queen, and she realizes that she's becoming the queen of the star that was named after her, and she sees they have her certificate, which is weird because the certificate's literally in her room. So how does that work, right? Well, timey-wimey stuff. So then when she gets on the spaceship, who comes in but the doctor? And he's, of course, wearing a skirt because, you know, God forbid he ever act like a man. And he's yelling, no. Then he goes after her, and we see these weird time ripples. And I like to say, while on the ship, while she's saying, please don't take me, she then goes, look, you need to go after my ex-boyfriend and tell him he owes me money. He's the one who bought it for me. Go after him. I'm like, okay, bitch, are you really, like, trying to throw your ex under the bus and get him killed? Like, God, you're a horrible person. Look, I don't care if you guys broke up. That's still a shitty thing to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know plenty who do that, but it doesn't make it, like, we're supposed to like this character is my point. I don't like her yet. So anyway, we get to the world, and she's brought there to basically be the queen, where she's told that she's got to marry the AI. And she meets the doctor, who's the historian. And this is a world where the robots are in control and the humans are slaves, right? So there's like 10 robots and 10 human slaves there for some reason, which now that I think about it, why were there a bunch of human slaves there? They only needed one to talk to her, who was the doctor. Why did they have so many humans there?
Oh, to make her feel comfortable.
No, they didn't give a shit about making her feel comfortable. In fact, they even said they don't care about making her feel comfortable.
Wasn't she supposed to be the queen?
Yeah, but she was going to marry the AI and become a robot. So, no.
I guess the equivalent of converting them as well to give her honor guard. I don't know.
No, they weren't going to be converted. They were humans. But, well, not important. So the doctor comes out as a historian, and he talks about the history of the world where the AI eventually took over and everything. And then through a series of poor editing, we find out that the AI can only read up to the 9th word. So every 9th word you say, they can't understand you. So basically, he communicates to her that I'm here to save you and that we've got a plan to get you out of here. So what happens, and this is the part that bothered me, the doctor's plan is a gunfight. He gets the other 10 people to to smuggle in guns and fight with the robots, who are clearly superior. And guess what? Quite a few of them die. And one is going, I've only known this man for a week, but I trust him with my life. Guess what? She dies. And then he stands there horrified and starts crying. And it's like, okay, dude, you put him into a gunfight against robots. What were you thinking? See, this bothered me at first.
Okay,
the doctor wouldn't do this.
I got a question now. So I thought it was the doctor who got only in the gunfight. He took the people in the gunfight with him?
The doctor started the gunfight. He didn't have a gun. He grabbed the girl and hid.
Okay, so this is like almost a enemy have him surrounded, and he decided to grab a gun and.
No, he did not grab any gun. This was the plan. When the girl came, he put 10 people in there with guns, and he had them open fire on them while he grabbed the girl. He used them as cannon fodder.
Hey.
Remember when he talked down to many military people who did that?
I remember when he had a policy of he didn't like having people with guns around him.
Yeah, and remember he would try to find another way? I'm sorry, but I could literally think of like 4 other ways he could have gotten that girl out without resulting in a gunfire, and then going, those poor people died, and then crying again, because of course he has to cry. Because God forbid he show a spine.
Like, I remember when David Tennant Doctor purposely told them not to fire on who was
Centaurans.
The Centaurian, because he knew it would be a slaughter, and they would be less inclined to fire on them, because it's like, okay, the Centaurian like a fight. If you're not fighting, they're not going to attack as quickly.
Yep.
So
nope.
He straight up used them as cannon fodder.
He used them as cannon fodder. Straight up, and then he cried about it. Because of course.
Who was the people with guns? Like, was they like with UNIT or something, or
no? They were human slaves of that planet.
Who somehow just managed to get their hands on gun to do an uprising.
No, the doctor helped them get the guns for this plan.
Wait,
this is time.
The doctor armed them?
Huh? Yeah, no, he armed them. No, this was the doctor's plan. The doctor's plan was to get them in there with weapons so that they could fight their way out with the girl.
Wait, he doesn't give people guns.
I'm aware.
He's never give people. That's a big rule of the doctor. He doesn't like guns. He doesn't like giving people guns.
This is the healed doctor. It's okay if people die as long as they're white. He only cried about the black women being killed.
Like, literally, one of the biggest thing about him was, do you know why we fear the doctor? Because the doctor never had a gun, and he always win. That's the same during the Time War. He never had a gun, yet he always walked into battle completely without a weapon. So
yep. This is not that doctor. This one's healed.
Even not what is it? Matt Smith. He spent what 500, 600 years on the fields of Trenzalore fighting the Dalek Cybermen and the Zentaurans with no weapons while making toys for children.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And they start to use the people as cannon fodder while arming them with guns.
Yes, he did.
Was there at least laser guns?
They were at least laser guns.
Oh, well, thank goodness he didn't give them the crappy human guns.
Yeah, no, at least he's not that cruel.
He gave them partially a chance to die.
Now, to be fair, the reason he had to use them as cannon fodder is because the robot stole his TARDIS. So, it's justified.
He can snap his finger and bring it back.
Anyway.
Did they have it behind a force field or something?
No, it's just in a closet he can't find.
He can snap his finger and bring it back. Like, literally, that was a whole plot at one point, was that the Doctor of the Future during Matt Smith time can snap his finger and bring the toilet to him.
Anyway.
Oh, God.
Oddly enough, we're not at the part that broke me yet.
I'm already...
So then they go down, they use a teleporter and go down to the secret underground base, right? And a little robot that's basically, that little black robot from Star Wars, the little cleaning droid?
Yeah.
Yeah, a cleaning droid follows them. The Doctor sees it, and he feels much more compassion towards it and says, "I'm sorry, but I have to turn you off," and turns off the robot. After crying about the black woman he got killed with his horrible, horrible plan. So then he goes in and he starts doing some research, and the nurse, because she is a nurse, decides to help out. And her first comment is looking over the Doctor. When the Doctor tells him that he's called the Doctor, she goes, "Oh, well, I'm the nurse then." And then says, "Well, nothing's changed. A doctor standing around while the nurses do all the work." I'm like, wow, God, you're insufferable, woman. Ugh. And we get the backstory about her and her boyfriend, how her boyfriend bought the star, and that she broke up with him because, he was always telling her what to do, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, though, yes, her boyfriend was pretty toxic and, talked down to her and was arrogant and full of himself. Here's the thing. They were perfect for each other because they're both horrible, toxic people. She's just as obnoxious, just as horrible as he is. He's the only one who could stand to be around her. They were literally perfect for each other, so they might as well have stood together, honey. That was the best chance you ever had at having someone because you're a horrible person. I digress. Still not the part that broke me. So then, after hearing all this, she decides to make this bold statement because they're here because of her. So what does she do? She decides to turn on the robot to alert the killer robots where they are. So that way they can come in, kill a bunch of people, and take her, and she'll end up being brave because she saved them. Did you get all of that? Did you get her stupid plan?
So wait, C plan... Run it by me one more time.
She felt bad and thought this was all her fault. So, to rectify that, she turned on the little robot, which alerted the killer robots who are trying to kill the human resistance where the human resistance headquarters was. They came in, the humans fought back, few of them died, and then she stood up and said, while they were dying, I called them here. I have to give myself up, and then eventually gave herself up. Because that's the brave thing to do. Now, if you're thinking that was really stupid, you're right. It was really stupid.
Why does he turn the robot back on?
Huh?
Why does he turn the robot back on?
So they could track the robot, figure out where she was in the secret human resistance, and come pick her up so people could stop dying.
Why didn't he just walk out to the robots?
That's a good question.
Like, you didn't need to expose a whole secret base. You could just walk out.
Especially since she did this while she was alone.
Yes. That's like I'm trying to understand what the thought process was.
Oh, and considering that they had been fighting the human resistance long before her, how is her surrendering going to stop it anyway? We don't know. They never explain.
So, why did the robots want her as the queen?
Okay, so now we're getting to the third act. Now we're getting to the part
we haven't got to that yet. Okay.
now we're getting to the part that broke me. So we get to the AI who wants her to be her queen, and we find out it's not AI, it's Al, as in her ex-boyfriend.
Her boyfriend was named Al.
Yes.
I agree. She should have dumped him just for that name alone.
Fair enough, but he was.
I'm sorry. So wait.
No, they're both horrible, toxic people.
I'm being mean to people who have the name Al, but wait, let me get something straight. Was his name literally A lowercase L, or was it AI, like A with the letter I, like Aya? Or something
it was
like that?
A lowercase L.
And they mistook the L for an I.
Yes.
Okay.
By the way, this is Zed. If you're curious, this is the doctor mistook this, who is a super genius. Just to say,
Okay.
a over 2,000-year-old super genius mistook a lowercase L for an I.
Did the Resistant also mistake this as
Yes, they did.
Well, I mean, okay, I will at least give something to the Doctor in the sense of if everyone's calling it AI and it's all you see is A and then I, what looked like an I made the mistake of L for I.
Yeah, no, I'm not actually gonna give him crap about this. That's like, again, we're not at the part that broke me.
it's stupid. It's really stupid.
No, it gets dumber because, okay, so her boyfriend is the AI. So what we get through this convoluted backstory is that, after they broke up, he went on with his life and he was playing video games when suddenly the robots showed up. The robots showed up to make him their king, and they took him to their world, and he's like, awesome, robot world, let's go check it out. And when he did that, he then got absorbed into the AI. When he became absorbed by the AI, he became a ruthless dictator and was basically enslaving all the humans and making robots supreme, right? So he's looking really bad right now. And she is basically, of course, condemning him, saying how horrible of a person he was, and he was always this way. And then the doctor looks at her and says, wait a second. She's like, what? Don't you remember? Every ninth word. And we realize that he is also trapped by the AI system and is being corrupted by it. The AI has been taking over his mind, and the only way he can speak out is every ninth word. That's why all the robots can't understand every ninth word. It's because of something to do with Al. And when they think back to the 9 words, they realize he's saying, please help me. He is screaming for help. And the doctor and them both realize, oh my God, Al is screaming for help. This guy who, his worst crime, I want to say again, is that he's a jerk. That's it. And not like a person who beats people jerk. He's just, he's an arrogant putz. That's all. That's his crime.
If I'm understanding, so he'll say something up to the 8th word, and then the last word would be something like please, and then he'll do another sentence, and then the 9th word would be help or something like that.
Correct.
Okay, so basically every 9th word he was leaving a ending on his last sentence being like help, please, help, AI overloads type of deal.
Yes.
Okay.
And the doctor understood it, and so did the girl, and they realized he was screaming for help. He was begging for help. I want to emphasize this. He was begging them for help. So, okay, so the last part is timey-wimey crap. She has the original document, the star chart thing, the document that says the star is yours.
Yes.
And then he has the other one. Oh, by the way, the reason she figures out that it's her ex-boyfriend is he says, you are Miss Belinda, whatever the hell her name is. And then she goes, why is it Miss? It sucks being Miss. And then she goes, and then the AI goes, are you married? And that's how she figures out it's him. Like, okay, that's really stupid and convoluted. But anyway.
Side question, real fast.
Shoot.
Does his sonic screwdriver work on the killer robots?
Don't know. He never tries it.
Wait, what?
He never tries it.
I-
And don't you know, it's a Sonic TV remote control.
That makes even... Well, yeah, I forgot it was a Sonic TV remote... Wait, did he legit make a remote controller?
I
to a
mean,
TV?
he calls it a screwdriver, but
Okay.
look, it looks like a remote
No, it
control.
does look like a remote because it's the chunkiest screwdriver to date.
Man, it looks like the pear pods from the iCarly TV show, or from the what's the other one with the singer? Crap, it was on Nickelodeon.
Victorious.
That's it. Remember the Apple phone thing, the pear pods?
Yeah, it was in both.
Yeah, it looks like. Oh, it was in both. Okay, it looks like
It was
that.
in
That's
both.
what his sonic screwdriver looks like.
Let me...
Which yeah, it's just okay. So no, he doesn't use the sonic screwdriver on the robots.
So he doesn't use the tool that he have used countless time through now 2,000 years of
I'm not
fighting
gonna lie,
enemies.
I was too pissed off to notice that he didn't use the tool.
Are you a little bit more pissed off now that he didn't ever try
Honestly,
to...
yes, I'm a little bit more pissed off.
Because I'm actually furious right now that he... I don't think... Is any one of those his sonic screwdrivers? I think those are all
No, the
previous
very
ones.
last one is Jodie Whittaker's,
Okay.
and yeah, so
It's... So, this would be the equivalent of a Jedi not using their lightsaber against the stormtroopers. It's like, oh, I forgot I had it.
yeah. But again, so okay, again, now we're getting to the part that broke me and pissed me off. Is okay, so the two documents touch, right? And because they're the same document from different times, they cause a big temporal explosion. So the temporal explosion goes through and it destroys the AI. And Al then has disappeared. But of course, the girl is fine. You know, she was just at the center, but she's fine because we can't let anything happen to the minority pick. You know, we just can't do that. The white boy, however, the doctor, she comes around asking, where is he? And the doctor scans the floor and says, well, he's technically there. What do you mean? He's been changed back into a zygote, a sperm and an egg cell.
Because he was at the epicenter of the time explosion.
The little cleaning robot comes and cleans him up and goes away. So he's gone, he's dead, and we realize that when the doctor and them realize that, they look at each other, smile, and start laughing with this little bitch doctor saying, "Yas, queen." And my comment was, the doctor, the one who cried when his worst enemy, the master, was dying in his arms, is celebrating a man who was begging him for help dying. Why? Because he's a white boy. Who cares? Russell T. Davis, screw you. Okay? I don't know what the hell crawled up your ass, but you need to go see somebody because screw you, you little bitch.
And found the screwdriver, the giant remote. Since
Yeah.
he didn't use it, I figured I would find it for him.
But yeah, that's what broke me. The doctor celebrated someone dying.
Well, cracked a joke about it. About someone who was asking for help.
Begging for help. He cracked a joke. And he danced too. Because I'm
Wait,
sorry,
he
but
did?
you know what?
He legit
oh, yeah, he
danced
did
on
a
his
little
grave?
dance.
Wait,
Yeah, no, he did a little dance.
he legit danced on the dead person's grave.
Who was begging him for help. The doctor dances. And you know what? Screw it. I'm calling him what he is. He's the gay doctor. The gay doctor danced on someone's grave. Don't you feel great?
So
Screw you.
that brings me to my little segment, my little rant, because while I didn't see the first episode that broke Archimage, I did see the second episode, which, again, I had only seen the first half of the previous season with this doctor. He wasn't that flamboyant. He wore a dress. It was strange, but I'm like, okay, the doctor wears strange clothing all the time. It's not that weird or out there.
Yeah, and technically it's clearly supposed to be a kilt.
Was it supposed? Yeah, because I'm like, it's supposed to be a kilt. I hope.
No, the style, it's supposed to be a kilt.
Okay. Well, then, so the next episode was him dealing with some of the I think what was the space gods that has been previously from the previous season.
Yeah.
And this one was what was he, the revenant or something like that?
This is the one from the second episode, right?
Yeah, with the cartoon. He would, because he
Yeah.
named what type he was. I think he was, because previous set was death. I think he was the revenant or something like that.
I'm not sure. I didn't watch this one.
Yeah, it was something stupid. And basically, he came in a beam of light. He took the form of a cartoon and got kind of trapped in the theater, stupidly. It wasn't bad. It was just really peaceful.
Surreal.
Well, no, not even that. It was just like originally, it felt like they were playing it safe, and I'm like, okay, they're playing it safe. It's fine so far. It was interesting because it was 1950s America, and I'm like, wait a minute, we got two colored people walking into a restaurant in 1950s America. This is not the case. This is not how things go. They actually did address that. They did address it. The diner owner was like, yeah, I'll let it slide. And but they did address it. They at least brought it up and saying that, it's illegal for them to be there.
Yeah, I doubted they had any problem addressing that there was racism in America.
Yeah, and Coach C was like, that's awful. That's horrible. I'm like, well, yeah, that's 1950s America.
It's like, did you not take... Really? She was surprised by that? Did she not take history?
Well, I don't know how taught that is in the UK, technically.
Oh, because, the UK has never been racist.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I know they don't like to teach American history as much in other countries as it is taught, here.
Yeah,
so.
I'm pretty sure there was segregation in the UK. In fact, I'm positive there was segregation in the UK. There's still segregation in the UK.
That's also relatively true. But so they investigate the theater because basically when the cartoon guy showed up there, he basically made 13 people go missing. So they go investigate the theater, and the doctor is acting so gay in this one. And I mean, it's not even he's acting like in the previous season. He was just acting a little bit. What's a good word for it? What's a good word for? Overzealous, I guess, a little bit.
That's the way to say it.
Yeah, he was. This season, or at least this episode, he felt like a freak. Like, all those gay stereotype where you can clearly tell a straight person wrote this gay character and shoved him into a media to try to appeal to gay people.
Yes.
Like all the stereotypical quotes and check boxes you could check for a gay person, a gay male. Like going fabulous and honey please and girlfriend, no he didn't type stuff. Like all of that he kept saying.
Like everything that belongs in a bad sitcom.
Even worse, even sitcoms, they at least got a laugh track, so you're not supposed to take it seriously. He's straight up like, and he's going along with this. He's like, no, yes, he's going along with it. He's like, I remember when he's like, do you want to investigate the haunted theater? He's like, I do. It's like, so you want to Scooby do this? And he's like, Gail, I will Velma this up. And I'm like, what the hell?
I was unaware that Velma was a verb.
Yes. Like, and you think that I'm like, it was like so cringy to listen to that, and then I'm like, okay, at least that was a one-time thing. And then they brought it back up and going, well, time for you to do your Velma thing. And I'm like, and then he's like, honey, I'm like, God dang it, what the hell am I listening to?
How'd you make it through the episode?
I didn't. I tuned out.
Oh, okay.
So I started to tune out.
Real quick, while you're going to this, while you've been stating all these frickin' stereotypes, two things. First of all, what I want to mention, for those of us looking at the Doctor right now on YouTube, that picture is actually a little misleading because he's wearing pants and clearly should be wearing a dress.
Yes.
In fact, if he had it his way, he'd be wearing a miniskirt.
Now, to be fair, in this episode, he was wearing pants, but he
No,
was
I know, but
he was a black man in 1950s America wearing a bright blue suit. So if he had been wearing a bright blue pair of skirts, yeah, that's beyond the lynching in 1950s America.
Actually, I'm going to say the most horrible thing I can, but this is how I feel. I'm okay with this one because then maybe we'll get a better doctor.
It was...
Actually, I know what's coming, which we'll talk about later, and no, we wouldn't.
Okay, well, then
real quick, though, the
Yeah.
second thing I want to say, the person who wrote this doctor, who wrote his character, Russell T. Davies, is gay.
Wait, really?
Yeah, no,
And
dude's
he
gay.
wrote a gay character like this?
Yep. Russell T. Davies is gay.
Because this, again, he acts so stereotypical, so flamboyant, so just unbelievably like, I mean, it almost bring me to a character who go, I can't remember which cartoon those were from. They were like, you're acting so gay, you're giving me, you make even me want to slap you, and I'm a homophobe. I'm a complete gay person. I'm like, God dang, this is just...
Yeah, no, Russell T. Davies is gay, 100%.
Why would he write a gay character so badly like this?
Because he hates the fact that he was born white and male.
That's no excuse for you to take it out on gay people. God dang.
He's taking out everybody.
Well, then I tuned out for the rest of this episode where basically they get trapped in the cartoon.
Yeah, no, I actually saw this part. They were 2D, and then they became 3D by both having a which one is more pathetic contest.
Yes, so Zed, this is kind of stupid funny. They realize that in order to go from 2D to another third or fourth dimensional, they have to have more depth to their character. So they had to basically emote themselves with depressive things, like the doctor talking about how he's the last of his kind.
Which was completely glossed over,
Yes.
by the way.
Then why weren't they trapped in the first dimension first?
Well, they were
Because
trapped.
it sounds like they had nothing even substantial for the second dimension.
Well, what got me was what happened after they broke out and they stopped being 2-dimension. They were 3-dimension, still in the 2D world. Then they realized, hey, if we grab the top of the screen, we can pull down on the reel and keep changing the scene until we get back to our dimension. And they realized, well, I'm like,
Wait.
Yeah.
Are you talking about they grabbed the film screen
yes,
and started pulling
down.
So they went for Popeye rules.
Yes, but here's the problem. Think about how a film reel work. When you pull down on the screen, you're just moving one frame into another frame into another frame. So you're doing nothing essentially but moving the film along.
Yeah.
And there's like what, thousands of frames in a 1950s cartoon?
Yeah.
So eventually they realize that's a stupid idea. Let's break the fourth wall. So they start touching the front of the screen and they break out into what you think is our universe. Because they break out into the living room of a bunch of fans watching Doctor Who. Yeah.
Wait. I saw a bit of that. I thought that was that was in the episode? I thought that was a promotional joke.
That was in the episode. Oh wait, it get worse. Well, a little bit better and then a little bit better than worse. You'll like this part, Archimage. All the fans are constantly
sure?
Yes, all the fans were like they were apparently, I don't know how they got on the conversation of the favorite Doctor Who episode. They were like Blink.
Yeah.
And the other doctor, the doctor was like, but I had so many great episodes. They're like, Blink. Everybody like, Blink by a long shot. Blink. No contest. Blink. I'm just laughing at him because I'm like, this is so true. Nobody like your episodes. Blink is still one of the all-time best episodes of Doctor Who.
It really is.
So it was, and they're like even go, but it's like the whole episode you just telling people not to blink. It's like, yeah, and it was a good episode.
It was so good.
So I did like that. I thought that was a good jab that at least they can realize they don't hold a candle to the original, you know.
Oh, yeah. Just as a real quick, as a funny side note, that was one of the first episodes, Blink, that my brother ever saw. It terrified him. Like, it scared the crap out of him.
Yes.
He couldn't sleep that night because of it. And then afterwards, he watched it again, and it's now his favorite episode.
It's a good episode.
It is a good episode.
It's so clever how they use that one logic to take a simple prop of a statue and then just take and just small effects of them moving a statue while people are blinking. Oh, yeah, no, it's a brilliant.
And it was terrifying.
It's a brilliant.
Made it amazing.
And the best thing is, it makes you paranoid because you realize any statue could be like them.
Yeah, I know. So good.
Well,
Scared the crap out of my brother.
then the fans are talking, and eventually it gets spilled. They're still in the the universe, that God's universe. You know, they may not be in a cartoon, but they're still in his world, and they kind of let it slip by accident by saying that they're not that when the Doctor leave this scene, they'll disappear because the world will be undone.
Right.
But what's really got me was they're like, but it's so obvious how this is going to get revealed. That this episode is so cliche, and I'm like, oh geez, please tell me it's not. It's like, are you literally referencing how cliche it is? Because I was already bored. Is this episode going to end how I think it's going to end? And it's like, of course it is. The projectorist was the only one still who wasn't kidnapped by the deity, and he's been helping the deity by playing his movies on loop over and over again to keep him in power.
Right.
And it's like the deity is making the projectorist obey him by letting him be with his wife that died several years ago. It's a fake, it's clearly a fake wife, but he doesn't care.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's like, come on. They're like, come on, projectorist. He has nothing left to live for. He's in a room full of the films that originally spawned the deity. There's fire. And there's a lot of flammable objects in the room.
Including the film itself.
Not just the film, but some of the chemicals are combustible. And that's what they really harped upon. They're like,
1950s?
Yeah.
1950s? Yeah, the whole thing's 1950s, the buildings are combustible.
Exactly. So of course the ending is they convinced the projector to essentially, well, they didn't convince them, but he basically decides to kill
he
the
commits
deity.
suicide.
Mm-hmm. And that was the ending.
Yeah, it didn't even need. Yeah, got it right away.
It
Wasn't
was
even.
just, it's like even a good little. I would appreciate it more if the fans had been tearing up the Doctor the whole time. But
now that would require Russell T Davies to actually, be a little bit self-aware of how much of a bitch he's turned the Doctor into.
It's just. You know what? I just realized something again. The Doctor didn't use a screwdriver throughout the whole episode. In that one either.
Yeah.
Granted, it would not did as much good, but you remember when Peter Capaldi or Matt Smith or David Tennant were encounter an enemy, they would use the screwdriver at the very least to scan them to get an idea what they're dealing with.
Yep.
This Doctor doesn't even do that.
No. God forbid.
He's just going through the pace. Like, I just realized he didn't use a screwdriver that whole episode. And while I didn't pay attention to the next episode, I did have it on as background noise while I was playing some games, and I don't recall him using his screwdriver in that episode either.
Yeah, he doesn't use it that much.
Now that I think about it, even Jodie used a screwdriver a little bit, not as much as
No, she used it more than him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, as a doctor, she really wasn't that bad. Although, honestly, at this point, I do think the doctor should be played by a straight male.
Yeah, no, female doctors. Like, I know that because during Peter Capaldi run, that's when we first saw that a Time Lord can transform into a woman, because we saw the doctor shoot someone and they turn into a woman.
Yeah, and also the master turned into a woman as
Yes,
well.
and the master turned into a woman as well. So it has been a precedent that this could happen. But it's like, let's take the master for example, because Missy, the mistress, that the name he changed his name to when he became a female.
Yeah.
That actress played the hell out of her part.
She really did.
It was a really good part. You felt that this was the master turned into a woman, and it also excused a lot of the more emotional, because you gotta admit the Missy was more emotionally attached to the doctor than previous incarnations of the master.
Yes, and also I will give credit that I love their dynamic, because like, I'm a big fan of Peter Capaldi, actually. I was not a big fan of Clara because I think they overplayed her too much.
She was only good with Matt Smith.
I love the interaction where the doctor's missing. Clara goes and meet the Missy, who's sitting there talking to her, and she pulls out that little pendium, or that Time Lord like last will and testament thing, and says this was to be given to his friend. And she tries to touch it, and it shocks her. And Missy just looks at her and goes, "What the hell are you doing?" And Clara goes, "You said it was to be given to her friend." And Missy looks at her and says, "Yes, the doctor's friend. That's me. What do you think you are?" And she goes, "Wait, what am I in this relationship?" And Missy looks at her and goes, "You see that couple over there with the puppy? Yes, you're the puppy." Like, oh, damn.
And this was while she had done a Time Lord stunt to stop all the planes that was currently flying over London.
Just for the hell of it.
Just to freak people out. To get their attention.
I'm sorry, but it was a great moment.
I like Missy because all her emotional habit that the master would have, you could make the argument the master's only doing this because he's a woman, and this state he's more emotional.
Yeah, and honestly, it was pretty hysterical. Like, and I loved his comments, like Clara going, "But you two try to kill each other constantly," and she goes, "It's our form of texting." Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, why does that make sense?
It makes sense when they've been alive for thousands of years, and they know for a fact dying to them doesn't. What did the doctor say when he shot the general? There's not deaths for Time Lord. It's just a change of scenery.
Or he said it's the equivalent of man flu.
Yeah, it's like
something like that. It was very generic. Which I will say, I knew that was going to happen when they started that, but that did kind of break like unofficial Time Lord lore, because it was always implied that Time Lords were generated within their gender.
Yeah. At least for the master, it made sense because he broke his rejuvenation sequence so much.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You could have actually gotten away with it from the master, because the master has taken over other people's bodies before. And like, that is something he has done.
And not only that, he, the last time we saw him, he was going into the Time War. So you could easily believe whatever he did to get out of the Time War, it was so bad. He had to take over
some woman's body.
Yeah, he had to genetically change himself, or he had to do something crazy. And that was the end result of it.
All which he has done before. So it would have made perfect sense, actually, to do that and not break the lore to do it. But, they were doing this from the start because they wanted a female doctor. Which...
It's not... And this is something I realized when I was thinking about this a little bit. The problem with Jodie was they played it so safe, and they didn't take the opportunity to truly... Like, for example, when I was thinking, how can you do this well? I thought the anime Ranma one half. The is an anime. It's currently on Netflix. It was remade on Netflix, I believe. Basically, it's about a boy who get a curse put on him, and whenever he gets splashed with, I believe, hot water, he turns into a girl, and then when he gets splashed with cold water, he turns back into a boy.
Damn.
And he's a kind of masculine, super masculine guy because he's a martial artist, martial art his whole life, and and of course he has a fiance as well, so it makes things very awkward. Of course, it's a romantic comedy, but they explore very interesting topics, such as like this get brought up towards the end, but he often wondered, if I end up accidentally staying a girl, can I get pregnant? What's gonna happen if I get pregnant? How would that even function? He has to deal with, am I being more emotional because I'm a woman, or is it because I think I'm a woman? They play with different elements, different things, not playing it safe. And it made that made it more of an interesting anime to watch. Whereas with Jody, they didn't, when does he ever talk about, he used to be a guy before? Or, am I being different because I'm a woman? Or, I think the only things he brought up was, I'm a redhead now. I'm not a redhead now. Because the doctor always want to be a redhead, which she can never be, apparently.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, that was introduced in the new one. Like, the old doctor never wanted to be a redhead. Like, that's just, I don't know really where that came from.
Yeah, I think that was just a running gag with
Yeah, that was David Tennant's running gag, which was funny. I'm not gonna lie. But
what else? I had thought, because I was trying to think how I would fix Doctor Who if I got hold of it.
Because the Master's been fucking with them. That's how I'd fix it.
The Master's just been fucking with them. It was all one big dream. The Master had them.
Yes, the Doctor wakes up. The Doctor wakes up. It's Peter Capaldi. He wakes up with the Master, who's Missy because he transferred bodies when escaping the Time War, has him stuck in this mental mind machine that has been making him think this the whole time. Then he goes, timeless child. I honestly thought you'd get that you were in a simulation when the timeless child started. Are you really that full of yourself, Doctor? That's how I'd fix it. That would be the start. Hey, it would do well, I'm telling you.
See, now, I thought I would, for me, I would just going to abandon it completely and pretend nothing ever happened and just keep moving forward. So my idea was for what they should do for the next season. So I guess keep your idea, but for my idea, for the next season, what they need to do, make the Doctor a straight male again. That's necessary. And then what they do, because let's face it, the villains haven't been noteworthy, or even memorable, or even decent since Jodie's run. I don't even remember the villain of Jodie's run.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I remember the villains of Jodie's runs. The most memorable one was the Master, and then
But again, that's the old villain. That's the Master.
And then maybe the Time Lord Cybermen, which were just henchmen of the Master, so that was redundant.
So what I think they need to do is have the what they need to do is, because I remember I thought about this and I'm like, this would be a very good idea if they actually want to bring in new villains. Is they have now I remember. What I was going to suggest is, how the Time War is time locked, so technically the Doctor can never return to that period to save his people.
Yeah.
Nor can they get out. Well,
Yeah.
What I thought would be a very interesting concept is planets, because how the Time War was supposed to have wiped out multiple galaxies and planets because of how expansive it was. Well, basically, my idea was a bunch of those planets start to reappear at random times. Random time periods. And you know how the TARDIS always bring the Doctor to where he needs to go rather than where he wants to go. His TARDIS would constantly get sidetracked to one of these planets. And then the whole, that whole episode could easily just be getting to see some of the other fronts of the Time War that we never got to see. So for those aliens and stuff, they still think they're in the time war. And we're getting to see the Doctor having to resolve time war battles. So we get to see, what the time war look like, more battles, more information, and it keep building up. And eventually, as the Doctor's going through each of these planets, he start to think, okay, what could be causing all of this? And it all point to the Daleks are trying to do this to break out of the time war so they can get out. So the Doctor's gearing up, to fight the Dalek. And then when he get to the last planet where he suspect the enemy will be the Daleks, he find the Daleks, but they're being controlled by rogue Time Lords who are so downtrodden from being stuck in the time war, they're doing anything possible to get out, including breaking every rule of time they can think of to get out. So then, the next season could be the Doctor having to track down each rogue Time Lord to stop them because they're breaking time itself.
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, they have a premise already they could do that because Peter Capaldi had banished Rassilon and a bunch of Time Lords from his homeworld. So they could actually set that up well. And my only problem is, did you ever see The Day of the Doctor?
Which one? Remind me what happened, because I probably saw it.
The Day of the Doctor was where David Tennant, the War Doctor, and Matt Smith met up.
Yes.
Yeah, so remember with that one, they kind of they showcased the Time War a little bit, and it was really boring.
Yes, that's why this would give them a chance to explain it away by saying the reason they show only the boring part was because a lot of the other Time Lords had been already killed or displaced due to this effect.
Oh yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying based on how they interacted with that, I doubt they do it justice.
I know, but here's the best part. Because I wanted to move away from the Master. So ultimately, the way I was thinking the final villain, the Time Lords, as a way to try to get away from the Doctor, would use some type of beam on him because now that we talked about the Doctor being able to split himself during regenerations and stuff like that. I know, I hate it, but here's what you would like about it. They somehow accidentally split the Doctor, and because they were trying to, I don't know, use some type of time device or some type of Time Lord tech to make him evil or to brainwash him. They split him, and the other half of him, what's the name of the evil Doctor? The Valorant? The
Vanguard.
Vanguard. The split one is the Vanguard. So a whole season will be the Vanguard, and everything's leading up to the Doctor having to confront the Vanguard. So we get to see the Vanguard again.
That'd be fun.
Because remember, there's another TARDIS running around, and the Vanguard will go for it, and it's David Tennant. You see where this is going? It could be a David Tennant Vanguard fight that we always wanted to see.
That would be fun, although David Tennant has to grow a pair again.
I know, but this is what killed me. It's like I'm not even a big Doctor Who person. I can think of something good for a good season.
Yeah, I know. Oh, by the way, just to clarify of why this broke me so much, just to say, and Zed, I want you to understand something about this, because I know you two aren't as big of a Doctor Who fans as me, but understand something. The Doctor celebrating someone dying who was begging him for help. No, it would be the equivalent, like Shadow Arfox, for you, it would be the equivalent of Rey in The Force Awakens picking up a lightsaber for the first time and killing Darth Vader.
I would go even a step further and say this would be the equivalent of Luke. This would be the equivalent of if Luke went through with what he dreamed and he killed he killed Ben Solo.
Actually, yes, that would also work.
This straight up, he killed Ben Solo. Because I can't even say Luke turning to dark side would be a big one, because they've done What If comic, but he's never killed his family before, because that's always been a line Luke Skywalker won't cross.
Yeah, no, Luke killing Ben Solo would be an equivalent. Oh, and Zed, still with us?
Yeah.
Okay, for you, the Persona game you play, It would be like Morgana being the villain the whole time and murdering all 4 of them.
Actually, that would have been an interesting twist that I would have been fine with.
I can think of something else that
just
would
to
get...
see how it would have played out. I wouldn't have. You say that as if I would hate it, but I don't.
Okay, I tried. I'm sorry, I don't know enough about your game.
Ironically, I think that's because I'm the only one of the 3 of us that doesn't hate the cat.
I think it would be something more of kin of if in Persona, let's see, Joker. Better yet, this would be as if Joker betrayed everyone and went on a villain arc and basically became a new what do you call it? Made his own dimension. What do you call it? Zed. Made his own universe and stuff. Basically, he did what they always do. Make other people stop doing, and he
Okay, yeah, I get what you mean.
I don't remember the terminology of when they make that universe.
Palaces.
Palace. This would be like if he killed all the other Phantom Thieves, made his own palace, and nobody could stop him.
Okay.
Although that would be a good what if, but
yeah, again, as a what if, I would be fine with that.
But
Yeah, so
I guess not what if mainline. I guess.
I'm trying to come up with good equivalents, but yeah, that's
well,
the
maybe
thing,
try
though.
not using Persona since y'all aren't as familiar with it as I
Yeah,
am.
but basically, that's the problem. This isn't even a what if with the Doctor, because this is just
No,
him
this is
being-
main timeline. This is
It's
real.
not even that. It's just him being
Oh.
needlessly cruel for no reason.
I got one. Not Persona, but Legend of Zelda, because I know Zed knows that one really well. This would be if Link was a coward.
Oh, okay.
Link is the hero of courage. He has the Triforce of courage. He's not supposed to be
There's nothing he backs down from.
Yeah, he's supposed to always meet a challenge. This would be like if he's a stone-faced coward.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, that'd be if he was a coward.
Got it.
You know what? This Doctor is a coward. I'm sorry, but it pisses me off because this is supposed to be the healed Doctor. Remember, he had that whole thing of talking down to David Tennant's 14th Doctor saying, I'm the healed version. If this is what Russell T. Davies thinks healed is, he needs to see a therapist who's actually willing to tell him that he's a bitch. Because this is not a healed Doctor. This is a Doctor who is a crying, whining little bitch. I'm sorry, but if you're crying all the time, you are not healed. You're a bitch. This Doctor is a bitch. And I'm not saying that to insult women. I'm saying he's less of any man, and it's an insult to call him a man. In fact, I feel bad for calling him a female dog because they don't deserve to be compared to this pathetic. I don't even know this pathetic, impotent version of what was clearly never the Doctor.
It's just, I don't know, like. It's so strange because having this guy, this Russell T. Davies, did he write previous seasons of The Doctor? Or is this his first time writing The Doctor?
Do you remember the 9th Doctor, the Doctor Dances, and the Empty Child?
Yes, the good ones.
He wrote that.
So this is the same guy. Okay, this was the guy you were
same
telling
guy.
me about.
He wrote some of the most iconic episodes of the new series of Doctor Who.
Back on the
He's the one who got Christopher
Christopher
He got
Eccleston.
Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant too.
How did he fall so far? I mean, because he wrote like the Doctor Dances is regarded as one of the best Doctor Who episodes.
Yep. He also wrote The Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, The Waters of Mars, The Stolen Earth and Journey's End, Bad Wolf and The Parting of Ways was him.
He wrote Water of Mars? That's like one of my favorites.
And one of my favorites, The Runaway Bride, where we first met Donna Noble, that was him.
Okay, that one I can see. I'm sorry.
Oh,
someone like Donna Noble, I can see him writing.
Yeah, no, that's a little. But I'm sorry, I love that episode. Also, The Sound of Drums, with the Master, written by him.
God dang it!
Turn Left and The End of Time parts 1 and 2 were David Tennant's send off, also written by him.
And the End of Time was the best one.
Yep. Just to say, for those who have a little bit of hope, Russell T. Davis did not write Blink. That was Stephen Moffat.
Okay, well, there's some hope left.
I know, right?
Who wrote the one
Stephen
with Oh, what was it? The one with the train on the surface of diamonds.
Midnight.
Midnight, yeah.
That was Russell T. Davis.
Because they did, the next episode was a revisit of Midnight.
Yeah, that was Russell T. Davis. Not one of his better ones, in my opinion.
I like Midnight just because it was a very interesting premise.
It was an interesting premise. I didn't like it that much, but to be fair, my main reason for not liking it is we didn't actually find out what it was.
Well, you find out in the next episode essentially what it is.
We did?
In the new season, yes.
They revisited in the new season.
So like the next episode after the cartoon, they visit a planet, and then as they're talking to the people, they're like, "Yeah, the surface of the planet used to be covered in diamonds." I'm like, "Wait a minute, covered in diamond?" And then it's like, "Oh no!" And then it's like, this woman has been getting controlled by that same thing, and basically it's a formless creature essentially that can control things. It's a type of alien essentially.
Oh, well, sounds as boring as the
Well,
episode.
that was the whole problem. It was better when you didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
It was like some type of eldritch. So to give you context, Zed, they're on a planet. The whole surface of the planet is diamond, and they had a train that goes across it because it's a beautiful view. And I think it was going to a resort or something like that. And the doctor gets stuck on the train there, and they're talking with the passengers, and an alien start to take over one of the passenger and start making them just stop saying the same thing over and over again and copying people. And eventually, there's like a delay, it'll repeat after you after like, 5 seconds or so. Eventually it start catching up and talking at the same time as you to the point that it's talking, it's talking and you're coming after it. You got the delay. And it's like slowly taking people over and corrupting people. And eventually it's driving everyone insane because they don't know. Well, you don't even know if it's driving them insane or whether people are just losing their mind because they up against the unknown and they don't know how to deal with it. And they don't know how to properly process what's going on. And it's their own fear doing it, or whether it's the alien have some type of mind control doing it to people. So it's like this whole little mystery of what's going on. How is this working? Why is it doing it? Eventually, the day is, quote, saved because the stewardess sacrificed herself to jump out of the train with the alien, killing them both. Because basically the surface, while being diamond, it was also like 1,000 degrees or something like that because it was in direct sunlight.
All that light being reflected in the diamonds, it was basically, a planet of magnifying glass lens mirrors.
Exactly. So they got vaporized. So we thought that was the end of it. And then they did, the next episode was, of course, they went back and they found out wherever this was still alive and still playing the same game of taking people over. Now it was doing something even more strange. It was always just behind them and out of sight. But it was the same alien. It was some type of alien. You never see it, but it's always just behind you.
Yeah, Russell T. Davis lost whatever talent he once had.
Yeah, it was like he was trying to get it back with that episode, but I'm like, no, you cannot build up. That suspense from Midnight was too iconic. You can't build that back up now.
Yeah, well, I was not a huge fan of Midnight. I will admit it was suspenseful as hell.
Yes, no, and it's suspense. I get what you're saying. You wanted to know what was causing it and the mystery of everything.
Yeah,
because
I hate not.
The
but
doctor
that's me.
didn't
I
investigate.
hate not knowing.
Yeah, and the doctor didn't reinvestigate because as far as he was concerned, it was too dangerous. And he was right. It's the middle of a planet of diamond, and wherever this creature was, it almost took him out.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I do agree.
Now, if you want to see the ending that badly or figure out where it is, this new season actually do revisit it.
No, not worth it.
It's
not worth it.
Again, I wasn't. I talked about how I liked the episode. I wasn't paying attention to it, and from what I gathered, it was just a random alien, formless alien that liked to latch on to people. That's what it was.
Yeah, sounds like something lazy he would do nowadays.
Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was more to it, but I wasn't paying enough attention because at that point I was kind of tuning out.
I don't care to find out. I'm sorry, I'm done with Doctor Who. I'm done. Until Russell T. Davis, I agree with Christopher Eccleston. Until Russell T. Davis has been fired and is gone, I'm not watching Doctor Who. I'm done. He pissed me off that much. And then
Did
and then
Christopher have a problem? And that was the first
Ninth
Doctor Zed of the modern era was the
yeah, the ninth Doctor. Well, technically, I guess he's the 10th Doctor.
Whatever. Let's
He's
not
the
get
one who-
this again. Yeah.
Okay, he's the one. He's the first Doctor of the rebooted series.
Yes.
Okay.
And he
He was
had
good.
like the shortest run. My understanding was it was because he did not like BBC and he left because of that.
Yeah, but he also said that he wouldn't come back unless Russell T. Davis and others were fired. I agree with him.
Okay, I didn't know about that. I knew that he would never come back as long as the BBC was involved because he has a huge outing with the BBC, I believe, as well.
Yeah, I did hear about that, but
I didn't know
Which
about
was
the
good.
Russell
He was
T.
a good
David as
doctor.
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can. Apparently, he saw it before we did, which means someone must have been kind of keeping Russell T. Davis on a leash so he couldn't like be completely unleashed. But now he's just unleashed and it's horrid.
That now make me wonder, was he playing an even tamer version? Like, because he was a good doctor, very, very more outspoken than previous doctor, and he was quick to get in someone's face and get snippy with it.
Oh yeah,
So I'm wondering if he was more tamed, and he was supposed to be a whole lot more unleashed during his run of the doctor.
maybe, maybe, but yeah. So and then we can finish it off by the final insult, which many people who in America have heard of the shot around the world. Doctor Who recently ended with the "huh" around the world, where the 15th Doctor regenerated, and I have to say, first of all, you two haven't. I know Zed hasn't seen his regeneration scene. You haven't seen it, right?
No.
Shadow. Okay, so first of all, he has this timey-wimey thing where he's about to regenerate, and he's looking through
quick-
the old doctors.
Quick question. Did
Shoot.
he actually regenerate of his own choosing, or did he get shot or something again?
That I don't actually know. I just know he regenerated.
Okay.
But I want to point out, I've seen a few scenes of this. He was looking at a picture of old doctors, and he looks at a picture of David Tennant, and then he looks to the camera, kind of breaking the fourth wall, and says, "Let's agree, I was the best." And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding? You're nowhere close to the best, you little bitch."
I think he was talking about David Tennant.
No, he was talking about himself.
I like Let Me Dream. Oh, Archimage, Let Me Dream.
No, it was confirmed because then one of the doctors shows up in a timey-wimey, and it's Jodie Whittaker. And she comes up saying, "Well, the best male, maybe." I'm like, oh, you, honey, I liked you. You had to do this much of a bitch move.
Wait, another doctor show? Wait.
Timey-wimey bullshit.
Well, I know it's not the first time a doctor interfered with another doctor's regenerations, but
Oh, and guess what she does? The female doctor talks down to the male doctor because he's so ridiculous.
what does he say?
Oh, just things like, "Oh, you redecorated. I don't like it." Honestly, so much does something that's already bigger on the inside need so much space? You lot always like this. I'm like, bitch, this is you're talking to.
To be fair, I don't know why I keep trying to be fair, but Matt Smith and David Tennant did the same thing to each other, but it was a one-off gag.
Yes, and they were funny.
That's also true. They was funny with it. In Zed, to give context, this was Day of the Doctor. In their gag, they were like, "Oh, you redecorated? Yeah, I don't like it. Oh, you never did."
Okay.
Yeah, no, this one was more of them just playing off of each other. It was like two brothers talking to one another almost.
Yeah, no, these two didn't have the chemistry to pull it off. Because I'm sorry, like again, I like Jodie, but she's not as charming as David Tennant. She's just not. She can't pull it off, and she didn't. And I'm
David Tennant
sorry,
and Matt Smith was really funny together. Now that
they
I think
were.
about it,
They were they were hysterical. They were great together.
it's like at least I'm not wearing sand shoes. Well, I'm not wearing a fez. Fezes are cool.
And then his screwdriver, where he does the little lift up thing, and
Yeah.
David Tennant's like compensating for something.
Well, it has been.
And even
multiple-
their interaction with John Hurt was fun because, you know, he's looking at them. You know, they're pointing at something with the screwdrivers, and John Hurt's, the war doctor's going, "What are you doing? They're screwdrivers, not water pistols. What are you gonna do? Build them a cabinet?" Damn. Like, dude.
and this will be the
Way to
last
ruin
thing.
it.
Last thing before we get back to the Doctor Regeneration, I like the bit where they both have glasses on, looking at something. And they both look at each other with the glasses. And go, oh, look, we both have glasses. They
both
just
go,
have
"We don't have
little
TV."
things like that. They had good chemistry.
They really did. And so that leads to the gay doctor regenerating, which he opens the door, and of course he's wearing a goddamn dress.
I'm gonna pretend it's kilt.
Yep, and he's in the stars, and he says to the audience, "It's been a joy." Like, not for us. He regenerates into this big, massive star shape, and I'm not gonna lie, his face changes, and you can tell they slapped this on at the last minute. And this isn't just me saying this. Like, BBC confirmed this was a last-minute thing, because what he was supposed to do is regenerate, and then it cuts to black, and they eventually choose a new doctor. But Russell T. Davies, in a desperate attempt to try to save the show and make sure that his legacy isn't the person who then ruined Doctor Who, puts up a new face, and it's Billie Piper, the actress who played Rose from the first series. And everybody's just like, what? And she goes, "Oh, hello," which she even admitted she did as a personal favor to Russell T. Davies. And everybody was just like, huh? And again, it's bad. You can tell that her head was just pasted onto his body.
Yeah, I'll try to grab that real fast because
And it's like,
it's really badly done.
yeah, which has led to the only funny fan theory, which is that she's going to be the doctor, go back and get David Tennant's doctor. She's going to be the doctor, and he's going to be the companion. So Russell T. Davies can start again.
I don't like that.
I don't like it. Nobody likes it.
That's really bad.
I said it was a fun theory because at least it would be like, okay, that's humorous. It's horrible, but it's humorous.
Would it even be humorous?
In practice, no.
Let me get some images up there so they got some context.
And that is how Doctor Who goes out.
Not with a bang,
Not
but
with a
whimper.
cheer, not with a bang, not with a cry, but with a huh?
So
A literal what the fuck.
to give more context, the male is Christopher. What I can't remember his last
Christopher Eccleston.
name. Eccleston.
Yeah.
And that's him with his companion Rose. Piper.
Who I still have a huge crush on.
And the one below it is her. You can
Yeah,
tell.
I can tell what the one below it is,
It's
and
white.
the head floating.
Yeah, it's white.
You could see that's clearly her head just pasted onto his body. Like it's a really bad Photoshop.
What? So, to give the context, Pierre Capaldi, they made a kind of a big deal about him being a previous actor from one of the earlier seasons playing a doctor, and they even hop on it. Why did I use the face of someone I saw before? And it was a whole little story of the doctor coming to terms with something. But with this, it doesn't make sense why he would take the form of Rose. because as at this point, the way he left Rose, sees in another universe with another version of the Doctor,
A human
a
version.
human version who can age, essentially being with him.
Living happily.
Yes. So why would he? And with Peter Capaldi taking the form of the Doctor, he made it clear, I'm doing this. I took this face to remind myself
To save someone.
to always save someone, even if I don't think I can, to always try. Because back then, the face he took on was the face of a guy who Donna Noble was like, save someone, anyone, even if it's just a few people, and that face was one of the faces that he saved. So it was a reminder to him. I don't know what this is supposed to be for not Donna, for Rose. Have a happy ending?
No, this is Russell T Davies desperately trying to save his career.
I know what this is on the outside, but in universe, I'm just trying to think how they're going to rationalize this.
Again,
I like
this
how
is
you
the
think
man.
any type of showrunner or writer thinks in universe.
Yeah, this is the man
I'd like
who
to
did the
point out that
timeless
was my
child
complaint of
bullshit.
several of the recent seasons of Power Rangers, is that no one thought about in universe.
Right? Again, timeless child. This is Russell T Davies did the timeless child. He doesn't give a shit about in universe.
Ah, jeez, yeah, he did do the Timeless Child, which was a complete cluster.
Yep.
But this is just, yeah.
I just realized, Zed, a better comparison for you would have been if Kimberly killed Tommy and laughed about it. That would have been a better comparison.
That would have been a much better.
There we go.
That's a better comparison.
We got one
if
in the
Kimberly
end.
had killed Tommy and then laughed about it. If Kimberly had laughed at Tommy dying, that would have been a better equivalent to what this was for the Doctor. So Zed, you understand my hatred now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it would have been like.
This is just really.
Doctor Who is officially going on a hiatus. Russell T Davies's desperate little ploy failed. So we can. Who knows? Maybe it'll show up again one day when the woke people are gone and Christopher Eccleston gets his way and Russell T Davies is fired, or at least sits on the couch and tries to explain to a therapist why he hates the fact that he was born with a dick so much.
Well, I mean, if they stay with Disney, that may actually happen sooner, because a bunch of things have been abandoning the woke culture.
Oh, Disney's not renewing it.
Okay, well then no. If it's going back to BBC,
They're
then
going
no.
back to BBC.
Okay,
no.
then no. We probably gonna get 7 more years of this crap. I'm sorry to tell you that, Archimage.
No, the BBC is putting it on hiatus.
I mean, when they come back, it probably won't change unless there's a huge cultural revolution.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
Because
not.
if it stay with Disney, like currently all the companies in the U.S. is going through a cultural shift now.
Oh yeah, no, but BBC's not. BBC's a socialist network.
Yeah, BBC is still connected with the UK unless something changes over there.
Oh no, they're a government broadcasting system.
Oh, is
like
it?
They're funded by tax dollars.
Oh, okay. I thought they would just
No, they are funded by BBC is funded by tax dollars. They don't need to give a shit about what their audience thinks.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, unless a cultural shift happened to their tax money.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Unless a cultural shift.
Yeah, no, I know what you
tax
mean,
money.
but I was just saying the BBC is not. BBC, British Broadcasting Company, is a little misleading. They are pretty much a socialist news network of the British government.
I thought it was British Broadcasting Communication or something like that.
Yeah, but a lot of people think it's company. It is communications.
Oh, it is communication. Okay.
Yeah, it is communications, but a lot of people think it's a company. No, it is it's basically a socialist news network. Like, they work for the British government. They don't have to give a damn about their viewers. They don't have to care if their audience is happy. They don't have to be liked. They can do whatever they want because they are funded by British tax dollars. That's why a lot of people don't like them, and that's why they don't care. Yeah, all of you who bitch about America, try really looking at what the UK is.
Don't remind me. Some people. Well, you know what? We'll get into that if we do another degenerate discussion right after this.
Yeah.
Because
all right, but
we can
that's me
definitely get
bitching
more.
about Doctor Who. So, Russell T. Davis, thank you, you little bitch, for ruining my show.
Well, you know what? I think the flaming dumpster we have behind us in our background, that's our TARDIS. And we just came in to...
Okay, you first.
yeah, I'm on it.
Russell T. Davis first.
Actually, I did want to ask you, Archimage, can a flaming dumpster be a TARDIS?
Actually, yes.
So, yeah, you know what? This could be our TARDIS right here. The flaming dumpster is our TARDIS chameleon system.
Yeah, because the TARDIS can look like anything. So, yes, actually.
Yeah, so hop on in and we will go back to a time when Russell T. David was actually decent.
Ugh. Wasn't that long ago.
I don't know if he ever... I don't know anymore at this point.
Maybe he was always like this, just they had better control over him.
Oh, David Tennant could make it work or something.
Something. Kind of like Adam Sandler. Like, Adam Sandler has good movies when he's kind of pulled on a leash, when he's not allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. When he does whatever the hell he wants, he makes some horrible movies.
I didn't mind Hotel Transylvania.
That's what I'm saying. He
And
was
50
reeled in.
First Dates.
No, I was saying for Hotel Transylvania, he was reeled in. That was my point.
Okay.
He wasn't allowed to do whatever he wants for Hotel Transylvania.
But we don't talk about the Jewish one.
That was my point.
51st Nights or something like that. Oh,
it doesn't need to be remembered.
Yeah.
All right, that's my rant for Doctor Who. Again, thank you, Russell T. Davis, for ruining my show. Please seek help and ask the doctor why you're such a bitch. My advice, let him slap the shit out of you and go join a gym immediately. Maybe a few punches to the face will help you, remind you what testosterone was like.
We can hope.
We can hope. Any final comments?
I like Doctor Who. I don't like the fact I don't like. It just drives me crazy that this is what happened to the Doctor. Because I got into Doctor with Matt Smith run, and I know that's not everyone's favorite run of the Doctor, but compared to this, it's a freaking masterpiece.
I like Matt Smith. I thought it was fun. His stories got a little off the wall, but they were still fun, and he was definitely still the Doctor.
The biggest complaint I heard was they didn't like that during Matt Smith run, a lot of his villains became allies. I like that because that showed me he has become such a competent Doctor. He could turn even his worst villains into allies for himself.
No, and other Doctors have done that too. It's
yeah,
like...
I think they didn't like the saying that what you call it, the potato people, the
Centaurans.
Centaur. They didn't like the Centauran nurse. I'm like, I think that's funny that the Doctor somehow made a Centauran be a nurse.
Yeah, no, it was pretty comical.
The most,
to be fair, more ridiculous things have happened in Doctor Who, so it's like...
Yeah, so, and I went back, I did watch the Christopher Eslin and the David Tennant run, loved them. I kept watching for the Peter Capaldi run, loved it. I gave the Jodie run a try. It lost me on the Silver Rights episode.
Yeah, that was a little heavy.
It was so heavy-handed with the messaging.
It really was.
And which kills me because I think the episode after was the apartheid episode with India.
Which wasn't bad.
Which I like because nobody ever talked about the Indian-Pakistani apartheid, which was a huge historical moment. I thought that was an interesting concept.
Yeah, they did well. And I'm not going to lie, my favorite one, but I am biased, and you two know this about me, was the one with Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yep, really love that one, but I will admit a bias. I'm sorry, I do really like Nikola Tesla, but to be fair, like that's the thing. To Nikola Tesla, they picked a really great actor to play Tesla, and for the story, they really couldn't belittle him, and that's I think what made it really great was that they couldn't belittle him as for being a guy like they did with so many other people. And I'm sorry, Wardenclyffe Tower was not him talking about Wi-Fi. That was just wrong. But to be fair, not many people would have understood that. So I'm not going to give him too much crap for not understanding the science.
The other thing I would say is if they do another Doctor, I hope
No, I'm not laughing at that. I'm sorry. I just realized a science fiction show didn't understand the science.
oh, that's typical.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why. That's funny to me.
The other thing I want if they keep going forward when they do go back to Doctor, I as a black male, I rather see the Doctor as a Caucasian, a white person again, a white straight male again, namely because in the universe it makes the story easier to write, and that's only because the Doctor is going back in time. I'm sorry, for a black person or a woman, and I have a feeling they're gonna try to put a black woman as the next Doctor if they could. Yeah, I know. It doesn't make sense because time travel is cool for white people. It's bad for black people. It's bad for women. It just is because let's face it. You go back and me as a black person going back in time. Yay segregation. Yay slavery. Yay tribalism. Going back in time as a woman. Yay, I can't vote. Yay, I can't do anything but work in the house. Yay, false marriages. So it's like it makes sense. Time travel has always been something easier to do if you have a mainly Caucasian character playing it because they can get away with a lot of stuff. You could probably write a black male and make it work, especially since Doctor, you could do some timey-wimey, like with the hypnotic ID card that he always use. You could probably do
you
some...
could even do it with you could do it a lot more cleverly too if you actually wanted to address things like I'm sorry, but black people were not the only people who were slaves. You know, there were white slaves. There were all sorts of
Yes.
people who were slaves, and you can even go to an era because remember, like the history of slavery. You know, with black people being considered the only slaves is actually very recent as far as slavery goes. Going back to certain times when they had slaves, most people would have been fascinated to even see a black person.
I mean,
Like
and since they don't really go in the Middle
Europe,
East, the Middle East would be the best place to go if he was, if they use him Black Doctor because black person in the Middle East and not.
Well, yeah, but also remember, like they could actually go back to certain points of Europe. They would have never even encountered a black person. Like they would have been fascinated by him.
Yes. But that
So,
would
like I said,
require
it
them
could
to
work,
actually.
but again, they'd have to be clever about it.
Exactly. They've shown they
failed
can't
about.
be clever with a female
Exactly.
doctor nor a black doctor. They are too heavy-handed. They're too preachy. They too hitting you over the head with some type of moralistic messaging that you don't want to hear. So it's like I don't want them to do that. Just stick with a Caucasian male straight doctor. That's what you were apparently good at. Just go back to that.
Right?
No, that's my little rant. I want them to go back to what they were good at. Ah, that's a depressing way to end off this Doctor Who.
Right. Yep.
But I guess we've been ranting about this enough. We'll end this off with any last words, Zed? You want to get any last words? As someone who's never seen the Doctor before, do you want to go watch a new Doctor, one of the new seasons of Doctor Who now?
No.
Maybe next time. That's what we do when we meet up in person. We'll show Zed one of the good episodes of the Doctor.
That'd be fun.
Because it's only 30, 40 minutes tops.
Yeah. It's only about 40 minutes.
So we'll show him some of the best episodes.
That sounds fun to me.
Okay, well, we'll end this off, and if we'll find out very quickly if I solve my recording problems.
Right.
Let's see where we go. See you guys.
See ya.
Au revoir.